So if you're looking for a shoe to do all your training and your race for 120 quid, this is the shoe for you. Welcome back to my channel. Ben is running. Today we're going to be reviewing the New Balance Fuelcell Rebel 2. This is the second iteration of the Rebel lineup from New Balance. It's a daily trainer shoe, and yeah, I've now run 50 to 60 kilometers in it, so I thought I'd share with you my first impressions. So if you're completely new to the channel, my name's Ben. I'm currently training for a 10k at the end of this month on the 30th of May. It's currently the 19th of May when I'm filming this, so 11 days until race day. I'm aiming for a 32 minute 30 second 10k, which will be a PB by around 15 seconds for me, but I'm feeling in good shape, my training's going well. But yeah, more about this shoe. I've now run 50 to 60 kilometers in this shoe. I'll put the number there up on the screen so you can have a little look. All my trainers on Strava as well. If you want to follow along, you can look back at some of the runs I've done in this shoe. I always label like what shoe I've done in the description of my runs on Strava, so you can check out which shoes I've been running in. But yeah, this is the latest shoe I've brought from New Balance. It's the first time I've ever ran in a New Balance shoe before, and I'm pretty impressed. It's my first impression, a little bit of a teaser for you there. So in this video I'm going to go over a few of the specifications of this shoe, how I've used the shoe so far, and who I think the shoe is going to be best for. And finally I'm going to go over my likes and dislikes of the shoe, having run over that 50 kilometer mark now, which is when I like to give my first impressions. If you do enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more shoe reviews, training videos, race day vlogs. Like I've got the race in just over 10 days now. I recently this afternoon I signed up to 2 more races. One's a track race, a 5,000 metre track race, the Essex Championships in July, and another 5 miler, just a local one in June. So yeah, lots of races on the horizon, ranging from 5, 10 and a few half marathons towards the end of the year. So yeah, let's move on to the specs of the New Balance Fuelcell Rebel 2. So it comes in at £120, which is a very reasonable price for a shoe. For me, that is right about where I want to be spending. Probably between 120 and 160 is what I would want to be spending for a daily trainer shoe. So I'd say for me this is slightly on the cheaper end of the spectrum, which is great because it certainly doesn't feel like a cheap shoe underfoot. In terms of the shoe itself, so the mesh is a breathable engineered mesh. First time I wore this shoe, it was actually raining, and any water that did go into the shoe came straight out. I could feel the air on my feet, so yeah, it's a very breathable shoe. So if you're running in hot conditions, this would be a great shoe for you. The midsole is Fuelcell, which is what New Balance call their EVA foam. I believe it's nitrogen infused, whatever that means. Somehow they inject nitrogen into this EVA rubber midsole, but it certainly gives it a very responsive, bouncy ride. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. The shoe has a 6mm drop, so from heel to forefoot it's a 6mm drop. You've got a 26mm stack height in the heel and 20, I believe, in the forefoot, which for me has been a really enjoyable drop. Probably 6mm is my favourite. In a racing shoe they usually are around 9, 10, up to 12mm, a little bit more aggressive, get you onto the toes, whereas a daily trainer can range anything from 0, so like an ultra shoe, they're a 0 drop shoe, all the way up to about an 8mm on a daily trainer. But for 6mm for me is perfect, because it allows you to do your easy runs comfortably, but also if you want to up the pace, you can also do it in this shoe, which makes it very versatile. That's with that 6mm drop. The only other features to mention is it's got a sort of an offset lacing system, similar to the Vaporfly. If you've ever raced in the Nike Vaporfly, it's got a similar lockdown. And yeah, straight out of the box, very comfortable, very easy to get a nice secure lockdown. It hasn't got a gusted or semi-gusted tongue. The tongue itself is just lays on top of the foot, but fits very nicely. Didn't have any problem with any heel slippage or anything like that. So yeah, that's the specifications. So moving on to what I've used this shoe for in terms of running so far. So I've just reached that 50 to 60 kilometer mark in it. I think there's probably around probably 4 or 5 runs in this shoe so far. The first run I did it was, I got about halfway on my run. It was about a 16 kilometer loop, and it started to rain. So I was doing an easy run for the first 8. The shoe felt great, straight out of the box, no problem at all. And then for the last 8 kilometer it started to rain, so I tried to pick the pace up a little bit just to get back. So more of a tempo type effort, and that's when the shoe really came into its own. Between that easy tempo pace, this shoe really performs very well. And that's what I've used it for so far, sort of my easy runs. In terms of a distance, most of the runs I've done in this have been sort of a middle distance run, so it is quite a soft shoe. There's not a lot of support in the shoe. It's a very neutral road running shoe, so it's very loose. You can see there's a lot of movement in the shoe, so there's not a lot of support, so I haven't used it for my longer runs because I feel like it could be a bit of an issue. I've also done some strides in the shoe and it feels great, nice and comfortable. Yeah, that's how I've used the shoe so far. Moving on to who would I recommend this shoe to and what sort of running would I recommend doing in this shoe. Okay, so who is this shoe best suited for? First of all, I must say it's a very neutral road running shoe, and what I mean by that is there isn't a lot of support. It's very loose in the heel area in terms of there's not a lot of rigidity there, and the actual midsole is very, very soft and bouncy. So if you need any sort of support in your running shoes, this probably isn't for you. But yeah, I'd say it's best suited as an all-round trainer. So what I mean by that is you can do your easy runs, you can do tempo runs, you could even race 5, 10, even a half marathon, to be honest, in this shoe. Very comfortable, very soft but responsive feel, which is actually quite rare in a shoe, especially your daily trainer. So if you're looking for a shoe to do all your training and your race for 120 quid, this is the shoe for you. It's also suited to people who prefer a bit of a softer landing. This is probably the softest shoe I've ever tried out. What I mean by that is when you land in the shoe, it's very, very soft. So if you prefer a softer landing like I do, then this is perfect for you. And yeah, I would also recommend it to people looking for an alternative to the super shoes that are out there. So the shoes with carbon fiber plates tend to cost a lot of money. So like the Vaporfly, Adidas Adizero Pro, they're all like £250 plus. Whereas this shoe is only £120, and it's a pretty good, I'd say it's a pretty good replacement for those super shoes if you're looking for something a little bit cheaper, but also something that still has that responsive feel and you can pick up the pace in. And finally, my likes and dislikes. There isn't many dislikes, I'll just tell you there. My likes are, is the midsole. That's definitely the highlight of this shoe. The Fuelcell EVA nitrogen infused midsole is definitely the standout for me because it's so soft, sort of similar to the Hoka range, the Clifton lineup, very, very soft. But where this shoe comes into its own is it's not only soft, it's also responsive. So when you land, it's nice and cushioned, but when you toe off, it really seems to propel you forward, almost like a Nike Zoom X midsole, just a little bit on the softer side. And I believe this is the same sort of midsole they use in their racing shoes, but it obviously doesn't have any plate in it or carbon fiber plate in it, so it's quite a soft landing, but yeah, responsive. That's my favourite part of the shoe. My second like about this shoe is its weight. It's very, very lightweight, especially for a daily trainer. So if you want to pick up the pace, it can do that. Thirdly is the comfort straight out of the box. In my experience, it hasn't needed any breaking in whatsoever. It's a really nice soft landing, comfortable, secure fit. I tried it out in some rainy conditions as well and it performed really well, so comfort out of the box is definitely a big plus side for me. Another thing I really enjoy about this shoe is the versatility. Like I mentioned, you can pretty much do any type of running in this shoe, whether it be your slowest recovery runs to your races. This shoe can pretty much do it all, which is actually quite rare for a shoe. It's quite similar to the Hoka Mach 4, which I also did a review on. I'll leave a link to it in the corner there, up there, if you want to go check that out. Very similar shoe. I'd say this is a little bit more responsive. I might do a more comparison video between the two. But yeah, another thing I liked is its versatility. And finally is the price point. This shoe only costs £120, which for me is, like I said, I like to spend between £120 to £160 on my daily training shoes. So it comes in at a fairly cheap price, and for a shoe that can basically do it all, yeah, it's good value for money. And finally, on to my dislikes. I struggled a bit to find the dislikes, really. But if I had to say anything I don't like about it, is probably the lack of support. If you're using this shoe for all your training, then you may have some issues if you're not a strong sort of heel striker. The only other thing I could think of is because it's so soft, it probably wouldn't do very well on the trails, just probably because you'd be able to feel all the stones and stuff on the bottoms of the shoe. But other than that, not a lot to dislike about this shoe, other than it's white maybe, and it picks up the dirt. But I've washed it in the shower. Actually, I use a hose shower to clean it, and it's come up well. So yeah, that's my likes and dislikes of this shoe. I'm very impressed by my first ever running shoe from New Balance. And yeah, that pretty much sums up the video. If you have enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe for more running videos, more shoe reviews. Let me know in the comments what shoe I should review next. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you with another one soon. Bye.